Let's get this started. So the first thing that we should dive into is Lawler versus Covington.
Yes.
Now, before we start, did you get a chance to see it?
I did.
Okay, so I did not get a chance to see this.
Okay.
So I was at Anime Expo. I was working on weekend.
Yep.
And I was thinking, okay, this thing's going to start at 7 p.m.
Yep.
I cannot wait to watch this because I was so excited for this fight.
Right.
So I get off, I clock off, I'm driving home, and I happen to look at my phone.
Okay.
I go on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
The first thing I see was a post from ESPN MMA.
Okay.
Covington wins.
Yes.
I fucking paused for like 2-3 seconds, and I
Yeah.
was like, are you fucking shitting me?
Yeah.
You're telling me that this thing started before 7 and I missed this fight?
Yeah.
I was so damn pissed off.
Yeah. Main card started at noon.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not. I was under the assumption that these cards start at 7, the fight night cards.
No.
Like even
They can move
pay-per-views, we're so used to starting them at 7.
Yeah.
And this thing started way before that, and I fucking missed it, and
Yeah.
I was so pissed off.
Yeah.
So pissed off. So I didn't get to see it. I didn't have a chance to see the replay. All I can say is from what I heard, it was a dominating fashion from Covington.
Yep.
I saw the number, like some ridiculous number of strikes that he he shot or
over the course
landed.
Over the course of 5 rounds, 25 minutes, he threw north of 500 strikes.
That is crazy.
And attempted at least 20 takedowns.
That is
It's
crazy.
absurd. It's crazy.
A guy against Lawler, you would not expect that to happen.
No, and that's the thing about this fight is that going into this fight, I mean, I'm not on the hater train, right?
Mhm.
So I appreciate people's skills just for what they are. So I'm a big fan of Colby.
Dude, he's starting to grow on me. It's
yeah,
weird
so
for me to say that.
The whole shtick,
It's weird.
it's kind of whatever. But
Yeah.
his skills in the cage, I've been a big
For
fan
sure.
of for a while, and especially after his last fight versus RDA, I knew I was like, this guy is absolutely no joke.
Yeah.
Like he can bring the pace.
Right.
He wrestles. He's a pressure wrestler. He can, but I mean, his striking doesn't really stand out to me, but it's definitely good enough for him to land stuff in there.
Right.
So
what were your takeaways watching the fight?
okay, yeah. So I actually picked Robbie Lawler for this fight.
I did too.
Yeah,
I was leaning on Robbie.
Yeah, and I'll explain. So I just thought stylistically it was actually a good matchup for Robbie because we knew that the way that Colby wants to fight is he wants to bully you, right? He wants to get in your face. He wants to wrap around your waist, wants to push you against the cage and make you work.
Yeah.
Wrestle you, right? Push you
Yep.
up against the cage, take you down. If you get back up, get you right back down. It makes you want to work. And I felt like this was a good matchup for Robbie because I felt like Robbie had the strength and the wrestling background to be able to, I don't want to necessarily say completely stop it, but definitely slow Colby down.
Right.
And if you can slow Colby down, keep him in the center of the cage and start exchanging strikes,
Mm-hmm.
then you can make it interesting. And Robbie hits harder than Colby does.
Oh, no question.
So I figured if Robbie can do a good enough job of keeping Colby off of him, slowing down that pressure, get him in the center of the cage, and start exchanging, he could land something heavier than Colby is used to.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, I thought that was going to make the difference in the fight. Now, it's not that I'm necessarily surprised that Colby did what he did,
I was surprised.
because that's what he does, right? Like he literally did exactly what he did to everybody else.
Yeah.
He did the same thing to Robbie. So, I mean, I'm not necessarily shocked that he was that I'm not shocked at what he did, but I am a little shocked that he was able to do it that effortlessly. Robbie looked like, I mean, when we watched the Ben Askren fight,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's such a controversial fight, and say what you want, say what you will about whatever, right? But at the end of the day, the fight counted as a loss.
Right.
And even though it counted as a loss, we all looked at Robbie and thought, this dude looks crazy.
Yeah,
looks
he
in
looked
better
great.
shape
I
than he looked in
mean,
a long
from the
time.
start of the fight, he looked
Yeah.
fantastic.
So I figured, I was like, if he comes in looking like this,
Yeah.
then we're going to have a good
Right.
fight. And we did not.
No.
Colby just terrorized him.
That, to me, the biggest shocker was Robbie not being Robbie from what I was reading and hearing.
100%.
That was the biggest shocker.
Yeah.
And if there is a big takeaway for me on this fight, it was that this was such a big statement win for Colby.
Absolutely.
I think there's no question that now this puts him in the map. Like, if you didn't recognize him as...
he's getting next title shot.
No question.
yeah.
If you didn't recognize him as a legit contender, now you should.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was so shocked by that because I was not expecting him to dominate the way that he did against the fight against Robbie.
And there's a lot of things that are really great. Number one, he did something that's kind of like counterintuitive to somebody that has that great a pace.
Right.
And he came out heavy.
Yeah.
Literally within the first couple seconds that the fight started, he threw heavy shots. And I thought to myself, like, is it the adrenaline? Is it the fact that the Trumps are in the building?
It's that cardio, bro.
Right?
If you're in the bedroom, that cardio that you
Those
raise
championship
about.
rounds. Yeah. But, man, it's crazy. This dude can bring first-round pace for 5 rounds.
Yeah, this was such a big statement win for him, no question. And now this has got me more excited about the Usman fight. Really excited.
Yeah.
And I'm curious on how that plays out because it seems like their styles are a bit similar.
They're very similar.
Yeah.
They're very similar.
They love to, because they're known for their cardio, it seems
Right.
like, and they love to pin you against the cage and just tire you out.
Right.
Right. And Colby was wanting to show his side of striking on this fight, which I think he did.
He did. And that's the really disappointing part about this fight is that, granted, I thought Robbie would do a better job defensively, but I would still give the edge in wrestling and pressure like that to Colby. So, but going into the fight, I mean, if you would have told me what happens if this turns out to be a 25-minute grappling exchange, I would have told you that Colby would come out on top. But what was really disappointing is that where Robbie should have shined, which is that mid-range boxing range,
Yep.
he got outboxed.
Yeah, that's the shocking thing that I took away all this.
There were giant moments, especially in the first 3 rounds, where he wasn't throwing anything at all.
Yeah.
And even the commentators, I'm pretty sure to give some credit to Robbie. And I mean, given that it's Robbie, it wasn't that unfair of an assumption. But they were just saying that he was probably saving himself for the later rounds because I'm telling you, man, he wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
Colby was in his face, right? Not even shooting for takedowns, just standing with him and trading. And Robbie had his guard up and kept moving his head, but without throwing any strikes. Colby's just coming at him, throwing strikes. Robbie has his hands up, moving his head, not throwing a single thing. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And then you expected 4th, 5th round for him to start opening up. And he did a little bit, but he never opened up to the point where it looked like he was trying to win the fight. Even when we got into like 30 seconds left in the 5th round, even when we got the clackers with 10 seconds left, we didn't see anything from Robbie that showed like, I want to win this fight.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that was a shocking part. And then, of course, how Colby Covington was just a shocker to me. But say what you want to say about the guy. He talks shit, but he backs it up.
He does.
There's something about that I gravitate towards. So Colby, he's growing on me. I'm not hating on him as much as I did before. I mean, he's backing it up. So
he is.
He's definitely legit. And I'm excited to see him fight again. Because we know he's going to talk shit, sell the fight. I mean, I even saw the videos on the post-fight interview against him and Usman going back and forth. That was hilarious. Bad. And did you see how he had a mishap during his post-fight interview in the octagon where he was trying to say Madison Square do it? And
Words
that was
hard.
hilarious to me. So, now he's funny and he's starting to grow on me. So, I'm not really becoming I want to see him lose so bad. Now I'm like, oh, shit, this guy can fight.
That fight's going to be good.
He's legit.
With Kamaru.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
I think so, too. I hope it happens before the end of the year.
It sounds like it should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anything, November in Madison Square Garden or December. I don't know where their December card will be in Vegas.
Right. Probably. They usually have
So I hope to see it before the year's end because, I mean, to be honest, Covington's kind of long due a title shot.
He is.
He kind of is.
I mean, he won the interim title in June of last year.
I mean, it was a year that he did not fight.
Right.
And then he takes on this Lawler fight. And then he puts the performance that he did against Lawler.
Yep.
Because we were thinking, okay, well, if Colby doesn't get a exciting finish or doesn't, come away victorious, I mean, Masvidal can maybe leapfrog him.
Right.
But the statement win that he had this past weekend, I think, give the man a shot. Let's see it happen, and let's see him and Usman finally get an octagon and see what ends up happening.
Right. Like a basic rule of thumb is a stronger statement is made by a finish. But he made about as strong a case as you can make going 5 rounds.
I mean, all I read online was just dominant.
Yeah.
Dominating. And I was not expecting that against Robbie Lawler.
Right.
I was really expecting a close fight.
Yeah.
And I was expecting Robbie Lawler, his striking to take over.
Well, that's the first thing that I thought of when the fight got announced.
Yeah.
Is I was like, number one, it's good that he's taking another fight.
Yeah.
But as a guy who wants to see him get that title
For
shot,
sure.
taking that fight versus
That was
Robbie
a risk to me.
dangerous. Yeah,
that
absolutely.
was a very big risk.
It was.
Because if he loses that fight, I don't think he gets a title shot. You don't get a title shot off a loss.
Probably not. No,
You
no,
know?
definitely not. Yeah, yeah.
So he took a big risk, but it paid off for him perfectly.
It did.
You know, so that's crazy.